Welcome to Rock the Life, a podcast for fans by fans. I'm Katya.
I'm Amy.
Amy, today we have an artist on. And when I say artist, we're talking in every sense. She is a costume designer. She writes music. She's an
Amazing.
incredible photographer. She has a radio station with music that
Hmm.
we just love, and it brings in community. Oh, she also can crochet. This woman can do everything, but on top of that, she's phenomenal. Her
Oh my
sense
gosh.
of who she is,
Yeah.
where she is in the world, what she radiates in terms of just love and
Yeah.
goodness and
I
inspiration. Hmm.
I have to say, she is amazing. She has to be, after this interview, one of my newest favorite people on the planet. I feel like if the world had more people like her, then we as a whole would just be in
The world would be
such
in a
a
better place.
Oh my gosh. She's like, I mean, fortunately for us, that our experience with her will probably end up being 2 episodes. And I could have spent more time. Like, I hated for it to end. But, you know,
Well, and Amy, we are talking about Helen
oh
Collen.
my gosh, Helen Collen. So let me just tell you,
Side
she is
note.
so incredible, just as her a human being. Side note, she's married to Phil Collen, but her as a whole, like I absolutely see his draw to her, because she just radiates beauty and love and warmth and wow, just
Wow.
I'm wow.
I can't
Just
I can't wait for everyone to hear from her and to be
yeah.
as I think walking away from this interview happy and
Hmm.
inspired and feeling
Yes,
like I'm in a better
absolutely.
place.
Yeah, and I have to tell you, get do what Katya did. I did not, but do what Katya did and get your pen and your paper because Helen is gonna spill all, not even all, no, some of her tidbits of just
An amazing
graciousness. Yeah.
and just an amazingness. So
Yeah.
aim with this.
Yep.
Here's Helen
Here's
Collin.
Helen. Yeah.
Hi, Helen. Welcome to Rock the Life. Thank you for coming on with us.
Thank you for having me. A pleasure. Thank you so much.
We are so excited. Amy and I have been talking about you, and we can't even pinpoint to which one area of your
Mhm.
amazing career and talents that we want to talk about. So
Oh,
I'm gonna bring it back to the beginning first.
mhm.
And you have an amazing education behind you in costume design from SUNY Purchase
Mhm.
and working on theater and film, TV shows like The Wire okay, let's start with costume design. Where did that spark? Where did that passion ignite for you to go into costume design?
Well, so I've always had my own thing, really. So that included style as well. So I went to a private school, so I wore uniform from like
Oh.
first grade to eighth grade, and then I went to Brooklyn Technical High School, which was public, but it was a science high school. But you get to wear your own clothes
One
and
of the
stuff.
most.
And so I was always into like style and always, and that didn't mean like spending money on clothes because I
Mhm.
think style comes from within. So, myself, my girlfriends, because I'm from Brooklyn, so my homegirls, we were at this spot called Andy's Cheapies, and of course I'm an 80s teenager. So we were in there getting like the blazers and pushing the sleeves up and, with the black leggings and the, poor boy caps. And we bought everything from there. I used to rock like suede fringe jackets. You get them for
Oh
like
yeah.
$20, and the long tweed coats. Remember with the big shoulders.
Yep.
But
Oh, I
so
still wear them.
it was always a style thing. So we fast forward to, um, I first went to Hampton University when I got out of high school, which is in Virginia. And I went there. I'm an artist, so I went there for fine art, and they didn't really have it, so I didn't really go to class as like you should. I just was like kind of like a style maven on campus, and there was another girl who was too, and people would confuse the two of us. And then when we met each other, we were like, Kierna, Helen, and then like I looked at her and was like, yo, you look dope. And she was like, so do you. And I was like, okay. So we became good friends, and it was that thing. Then I left Hampton. I went to BMCC, which is Borough Manhattan Community College, for 2 years. I went there, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do because
Mhm.
my whole heart was set. I wanted to be a fine artist, like I paint and draw. So I wanted to do that. And when I got out of tech, when I went to Brooklyn Tech, I wanted to be an engineer, and I took industrial design, but I fell in love with the still art part of it. So I'd been drawing since I was like about 3 or 4. So when I got into that, it kind of shifted my focus into fine art because we were studying fine artists.
Mhm.
So by the time I got to BMCC and floating around college as you do, I just took a couple of electives, and one of them was I took like an acting class, and I took like a lot of art classes. But I met a friend. His name was Milwan Twista. He was from Venezuela, beautiful, and he was the most talented artist I'd ever met. And he said we would meet under this bay window in the school, and we would draw together in the afternoon for a few hours. Like he would draw in my sketchbook, and I would draw in his. We didn't really talk to each other; we just draw, right? So
Wow.
one day he came with these brochures and said, "You know what? You're talented and your style is off the hook. You should go to this school." And I was like, what's that? And he said, you should be a costume designer. And I was like, what's that? And he was like, you go to movies, you see they're wearing clothes? And I said, yeah. And he said, someone did that. And I was like, really? Because you don't think about it.
Mhm.
So then the rest was pretty much, I looked into it. I took him at his word, and, I went up for like kind of, they give you like a tour. And I was like, this looks hard. And it was, because you're thinking, oh, costume design is just clothes, but it's the Conservatory of Professional Theatrical Design. And so it was costume design, set design, lighting design, production, and stage management. And they teach, and their turnout goes to Broadway. So they're training kids for Broadway. So there's no joke. You come in the first day, you're all in black, you're in class. It's only 7 people per class. And then, each class that they allow in is 25 kids. I graduated with 15 of those because they kick you out the drop of a dime. They were kicking kids out in May of senior year. Like they didn't play. Purchase is no joke. And it was a blessing. I made it through, and I got in, and it was a 4-year program, and I did it in 3. I was intense because I was a bit older than the other kids, though, because I'd already went to other colleges.
Yeah.
So I knew the concentration that it took. And this was my last shot to be like, what are you going to do? So I went in, and I graduated. I came out, and then I joined the unions. And my
Mhm.
grandmother was in Local 1199, which was the medical union, and so I knew she had done that. My grandmother raised me, so I said the union is the best bet to go. And so I joined the local wardrobe union, and then I applied for the costume designers union, which was USA, United Scenic Artists, and I got into that. And then I got into the wardrobe local in New York, and then I just started working like on movies and for I worked everywhere, TV. I mean, I was the on-call head of wardrobe for CBS. And
Yeah.
Nice.
Andrea Ross, she was the wardrobe supervisor. And this is when Martha Stewart had her own show and Bryant Gumbel had his own show. Andrea would call me and say, oh, I'm going to take a vacation with my husband. Come in. And then I'd run wardrobe that day. And then that's how I met my one of my friends there. She referred me to David Letterman. And then I ended up being assistant wardrobe supervisor to Natalie, who was wardrobe supervisor on Letterman. So I ended up over there. So, but you kind of, when you're in that
Yeah.
world, you begin to make the rounds. And I worked really hard, and I worked well. And yeah, my work ethic is I don't really take any crap. I'm hard. I'm hard on myself, so I'm even harder on people that work with me and for me. And I ended up uh, when I left Purchase, although I didn't know it, my friend Jesse Sandler, God bless him, he never told anybody who his dad was. I got out of school. Jesse called me about a gig. I took the gig. I met his dad. His dad at the time was, he had just come off of being tour manager for the Eagles. So
Yeah.
he, my first gig that I did for Harry, Don Henley, was appearing solo for the first time in 20 years on Good Morning America, and the band needed their tuxedos altered. So I went in, and because I'm a seamstress as well, so I did
Mm-hmm.
backs and sleeves, and opened up stuff. And Harry kept hiring me after that. So he would hire me
He's like,
for all the wardrobe gigs, and so I ended up, for him, he'd call me just on a whim, doing anything for the Eagles. And then he was like, there was Timothy White, who was editor in chief of Billboard magazine. He passed away. And they had this huge event. It's 2001. It was called Music to My Ears. You can Google it. It was brilliant. It had all of these artists, and like it was Sting and Sheryl Crow and John Mellencamp and the Bacon Brothers, and they needed a wardrobe supervisor. So they did two shows, one in Boston Fleet Center, to raise money for his family,
Mm-hmm.
and the other one was Madison Square Garden. I met John Mellencamp from there, and John hired me, and I went on the road with him as his den mother for like 2 years. And then Harry called me, and that was intermittent between other stuff. And I'm still working in theater. So I was the costume designer. I was a resident designer at the Billie Holiday Theater. So I did all the shows there. I was a resident designer at the National Black Theater in Harlem. So I was doing the shows there. And then I was getting hired by, just, it was crazy, by everyone. I had a reputation for working 3 or 4 shows at a time. And I'll be honest with you, I'll say this, because when I came out of SUNY Purchase, um, the Black theater community um, was aware that I was coming out. Like my godmother, Debbie Blackwell Cook, who you guys know, she's in Delta Deep with
from
Phil.
Delta Deep. I was going to say yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Theater diva, right? I've known Debbie since 1992. And her husband, he's a major stage manager and director in Black theater. They told everyone, my goddaughter's coming out. Da, 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 da. Anyway, I went, and I started working. And it was just phenomenal the way that the jobs kept coming. So I'm doing the theater thing, but at the same time, I'm working, and Harry's calling me. And then he called and said, we have Dancing with the Stars, and we want to try this tour thing because it was a hit on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he said, but we want to take it on the road because that's the next life for anything that's huge. And I said, okay. And he was like, and I want you to be the wardrobe supervisor. So I was like Harry's secret weapon. He'd be like, okay. And I went, and I took out Dancing with the Stars, the tour. On their first tour, it's 587 pieces of costume.
Well,
And
the best costumes all around, right?
Right.
They're the most outrageous, amazing. Yeah.
but we had costumes made. This was all new. We had
Yeah.
everything brand new, all made. And I had a staff of 6. I got to choose, so I called 2 homegirls,
Wow.
and but everybody was great. So we took that out, and got to hang with everybody. Lacey and Derek, and Derek Hoff, and Mark,
Mm-hmm.
Mac.
Yeah, Derek.
Lena. Like
Max.
just all the. Yeah, Matt, oh, he's lovely.
Oh
And
my gosh.
got to chill with everybody, and that was great. And then at the same time, I had another mentor. I'm a collector of mentors because I never claimed to be the smartest person in the room, because I need to learn and watch. That's what I
I
do.
love that.
So I had another mentor. His name is Jonathan Secourt. And Jonathan, at the same time all of this was going on, was hiring me for Brooklyn localized events. So if there was like a parade, the Brooklyn Museum or the Grand Army Plaza or the Rose Garden, he'd hire me to just be a part of the production. So I was doing that. And then he was taking out on the road Donald Byrd's Harlem Nutcracker. And I was the wardrobe supervisor for that, and took that out. We did 6 cities. And when we got to California, we did the Jay Leno show. And so I got to do the whole, meet Jay Leno, sign the book. And ironically, years later, Def Leppard did something there at the studios, and they're all shaking Jay's hand. And I said, I'm already in the book. And he was like, what? And I said, yeah, I came out with the Nutcrackers, because that's what he would call. He's like, the Nutcrackers here?
The Nutcrackers.
And I was like, I was wardrobe supervisor Nutcrackers. And he's like, oh, yeah, I remember you. And so then I went to the book. I showed my name in the book. I looked at Phil. I was like, I'm in the book,
You're like, I'm already there.
So you get to have all of these experiences, and this is just the top of the iceberg. I'm just telling you because it's so I've lived 10 lives, but
Dude,
um,
there are 1,000 things you've done. And at that point, it's okay. Okay, first, I
I'm
also have to ask you, did you learn any dance moves when you were on tour with Dancing with the
oh.
Stars?
no, but I taught some.
Okay.
There it is. Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh.
The crew, let me tell you this: dancing with dances are so cool. They're your babies. Like I know you've heard this
Mhm.
before. They're your babies. They're just so dope, and you respect them so much because they're broken. Their feet, their legs. I mean, they're dancing
They're
on
killing their
literally
bodies.
broken. I remember Lacey, she had this pulled hamstring. She couldn't even like kick, the way she needed to. They had a doctor come in. She got a cortisol shot. They're rubbing her. Oh, everyone's rubbing her legs and trying to get her all together. And then it was her turn. I got her in her costume. We helped her stand up and put her towards the curtain. And then
And bam.
she went out there and just beautiful. You look at them and Derek, I remember I would be like, that boy can dance. Like he was just fabulous. All of them. Mark, and at the time, Derek and Mark had a band. So they performed at some club in a city we were in, and like so all the crew went to go see them. You know what I mean? So it
Yep.
was it was awesome. So you get these experiences that really with shows like yours, thank you, you get to relay them because they stay in your heart. But unless you have an outlet, you don't really
Yeah.
get to tell the stories because everyone's always interviewing the artists on stage, but the real stories are with the crew members.
What's going on?
Yeah. That's that's phenomenal. It's one of these things that, like you said, a lot of people don't get to hear, and the stories are phenomenal. And I'm halfway, like, even though it's in the past, living vicariously. I know I told you that growing up and before becoming a mom, that's wardrobe was where my heart was, and just so you're saying all these things, and I'm like,
Who's the
just
coolest person in the?
I'm just
Okay,
gonna
so
fangirl over Helen for a second. Have you been
I'll tell
fangirled
you,
over before?
I'll tell you this one. I was at Purchase. It was my senior year, right? This is just one story. So, okay, well, this leads into it. So there was a movie that was out called The Ice Storm. Did you guys ever hear this movie?
I
It's
think I
called
remember hearing of it, but I
So it's if you
let me
get a
write
chance
that
to look
down.
it up, it's brilliant. So it's called the Ice Storm, and it was I got my phone right here. I'll tell you who's in it. They had sent a call. So this is how purchases. They sent a call to the wardrobe department, not wardrobe, the costume design
Mhm.
department. They're looking for dressers, costumers.
Oh,
And film is called costuming, and TV is a costumer. Theater people who are dressers hate costumer. Like so, it's all
yeah.
whatever. I don't care. I did it all. But they were looking for someone, and I got the call, and I turned it down because to me, I felt like what's the
Mm,
sense in coming to school and leaving early if the training
Oh.
is not complete. So you have to complete the training. I don't think that I know some people go, "Oh, I got this job opportunity, I'm leaving," but I don't think that that's what you should do. I think that you should be in a situation where you gain all the knowledge, and then after
Yeah.
you gain all
mm.
the knowledge, you're like, "Okay, this is what I'm doing." So the movie was Kevin Kline, Joan Allen,
I just
Sigourney
saw
Weaver,
it.
yeah, Toby Maguire,
Elijah
Christina
Wood,
Ricci.
Christina Ricci. Yep.
Oh my word.
Yeah,
This was
and
yeah. This was a
I was,
Oh.
yeah, I'm not. I was like, I'm not doing that. So ironically, I stayed, and then 2 weeks
I
later,
guess.
so I'll tell you this about SUNY Purchase. They have a brilliant theater, so we're always in tech. If we're not in class, which is from 8 to 3, then tech, which is 3 to 10,
Whew.
because you have acting students. So your acting students are always in production, which means if there's
always
always a show, as a costume
Mm,
design student, you're always making costumes. As a set
mhm,
design student, you're always making set.
mm.
So the design tech program is always in crew. That's our trenches. So, and then 10 o'clock to whatever time you go to bed, that's when you do the homework assigned for the day. Costume plates, you have to read whatever Shakespearean,
Wow.
or you're
so
going out.
whatever. Yeah. So I was staying, and our theater is brilliant. We have like 5 theaters in there. And the main theater is where Broadway shows come to tech. Now, tech is a terminology which means they come to get it together, right? They
Mm-hmm.
got everything and they're doing these dry runs to make sure everything works perfectly. So you set the house, you put everything you would put in there as if you had an audience, and you run the show over and over until all the kinks are ironed out. You
Wow.
usually do that in somewhere else because you can't do it in the theater you're going to perform in because it's already someone in there. When they leave, then you load in, you're ready to go. So, The Wizard of Oz came to tech at SUNY Purchase with Eartha Kitt as the Wicked Witch and Mickey Rooney as the Wizard of Oz.
Wow.
And so I got the call and Dirk Lumbert, he was the tin man, and I got the call to be Dirk's dresser. So I teched The Wizard of Oz before it went to the Paramount Theater on Broadway. And
Mm-hmm.
so I hung with Eartha Kitt and Mickey Rooney, who I was in awe because I was like, this man was best friends with Judy Garland
Yeah.
when they were children, you
Yeah.
know? So you're around all of these. I'm saying this all for when people go, okay, you're married to Phil. And I'm like, you don't get it. I've met people who I've grown up watching. Like I never thought I would, like I'm standing in the wings watching the tech for The Wizard of Oz, waiting for like my scene to come. And Eartha Kitt came and she's very flexible, put her foot right here on just right there, eating a
Wow.
Snickers, eating a Snickers in her costume. And and when she did it, I just automatically was like, so she was,
Well, so
and I just, yeah.
Helen, I was going to ask you, and I think you've kind of answered between the theater, which
Mm-hmm.
brings some of the most incredible people out, your film, your TV, your Live Nation experience. Was there any person that you were actually starstruck to meet? Or, I mean, this has just been your life since you were young.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
Eartha Kitt, I think,
so here's the thing. I'm a diehard Michael Jackson 5 fan. You
Yeah.
couldn't see the paint on the walls, right? So you take the
Yeah.
equivalent of Def Leppard Die Hard, and then you insert the Jacksons, and
Yeah.
then you go
mhm.
and check out for Helen, and then there you go, right? So I never got a chance to meet Michael. My good friend Jesse, who was definitely on the come up, he called me one day and said, "Do you want to meet Michael?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah." And then he said, "Okay, we." He was the production manager for the "This Is It" tour
Can
because
you
he had.
imagine?
I know. If you look at the movie and read the credits, it says production manager Jesse Sandler, right? And so we went to college together. That's my dude. Love you, Jesse. So now he's the production manager for Bon Jovi. That's he's been there forever. But and he's just done so much. But anyway, I said yeah, but then Michael died, and so I didn't get
Oh,
to
poor
meet
thing.
him. So I mean, other than that, I'll be honest with you. Like I'm a Brad Pitt. Like Brad Pitt. You know who else? Okay, so I got two. I got Brad Pitt and I got Sting.
Oh,
Mm.
Sting.
So I
Yeah,
met
both of
Sting.
them.
I didn't meet Brad Pitt, but I worked on Burn After Reading, the film with Frances McDormand, George Clooney, and Brad Pitt. So they do scenes in different cities. And
Mm-hmm.
they did a couple of scenes in Baltimore that was supposed to look like Brooklyn, and Washington, D.C., actually, that was supposed to look like Brooklyn. And that's the Coen brothers who directed that.
Love the Coen
Um,
brothers. Yeah.
Yeah.
the day they called me in, I was in the wardrobe truck and all the clothes are in the bags and it said Brad. And I was like,
Oh.
so I just took the bag and was like, oh, it's Brad. My
Well,
husband knows I'm Brad, so it's
like,
okay. I'm just,
okay, but
but
if
I,
George Clooney is the consolation prize,
well, so here's the thing. So I didn't get to meet Brad, but George was there. Now, the thing with George that happened that was cool because George is cool. He's so cool, and he was fine and all of that, but he was just so cool, which during the in between takes when they have to shift the camera and stuff, he didn't go in the trailer. He stayed and talked with us. But then again, it's a small world because at the same time, because I'm the woman with a million jobs, I was head of wardrobe at Morgan State University. And so they have a performing arts center. So I handle their costume shop and their wardrobe. Because when you work wardrobe, it's freelance. And so you have to keep jobs coming
Yeah.
in, right? So I
Keep
if
hustling.
you said yes to me, I was already like, okay, I got this job, I got to get the next job. So I'm already working towards the next job. So I got the sound guy at Morgan State, his name was Mark. And Mark and I were really cool. Mark also did the same thing. His freelance work, though, included George working for George Clooney's dad. So when George Clooney's dad did that documentary and he was traveling out and he was doing his whole thing, Mark
Yeah.
was the sound guy. So when I was on the film with George in between and he's talking to the crew, I said to him, I said, do you know a dude named Mark? And he said, Mark, who? And I said, hold on. And I called him on the phone, right? And I was like, hey, Mark. He's like, yo, what's up? And I was like, hold on a second. I put him on speaker. And I was like, say what's up to George. And Mark was like, hello? And George was like, Mark? And Mark went, George. He was like, Mark? He was like, what are you doing? Why are you with Helen? What is going on? And then, I was like, yo, I'm on a movie. And I was like, this is George. And then they started talking. And George was like, yo, how do you know Mark? I was like, yo, Morgan State. So he was like, oh. So then after that, like they're kicking it. And Mark was like, yo, how's your dad? Tell him I said, what's up? Hung up the phone. And then we're just all talking, right? And George is talking about his dad and stuff. So what happens is, yeah, you can have your moments of like starstruck, whatever, but it goes away when
Becomes real.
people it turns into something really really awesome. And then 2 weeks later I got the gig that introduced me to Phil, but I didn't know who he was. I just thought he was a
Wow.
cool guy. But I just still 2 weeks later, so 2 weeks before I met my husband, I was dressing George Clooney and kicking it, right?
And
So
you
and
were
then I
that
met
close to Brad.
well,
Right?
when I met Sting, it was because of the music to my ears thing. But
Oh,
he needed a shirt altered. So his friend Michael came in and said, Gordon needs, a shirt done. And I was like, oh, okay. I said, have him come in because I had a little room, and I was going to have to like measure where he wanted the shirt cut. I was going to have to re-roll the hem and redo it. He came in and I was like,
don't know where to put my.
and then, you kick in and you go, snap out of it. All right. And
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
on shirt. I did all the dimensions, everything. I had to do a measurement and like walk around him. And he was like, oh, so where are you from? He's just talking. He was so cool. I ended up doing a
Yeah.
shirt. And because it's Sting, I did a great job. And you can Google it. And he's wearing it, And then when we did, that was Boston Fleet Center for that show. But then when we did Madison Square Garden the next night, and I was like pretty much in the hallway getting all the costumes and stuff together. When I was done, Michael came out and said, hey, Gordon said, if you want to chill, you come in the back. And I went and he had like this huge dressing room. It was packed. Everybody's in there. And he was like, hey, come on in. And so I went in the back and they were watching the show. So, from a big TV. So I just chilled,
From
and so
Madison
I got
Square Garden.
Madison Square Garden. Yeah. But I've worked there several times, it's still,
Right.
I met the owner of Madison Square Garden. It's like this really fly, like old dude. He was like 85 in a pinstripe suit, like a gangster.
Oh. I was just gonna say as soon as you said pinstripe, I was like gangster. Oh
Oh,
my gosh.
but he was so cool. He was
Yeah,
cool.
that's so awesome.
Well, I mean,
So
you hear from so many artists. Like, what's their ultimate? It's working at Madison Square Garden, and you've done it several times.
I mean,
No?
no, it's not. My ultimate venue has to be the collection of Fox theaters around the United
Oh.
States. They hold
Wow.
about 2,500 people, and they are the most beautiful pieces of
Mm-hmm.
architecture that I've seen on an interior. The same
Wow.
architect, I forget his name, forgive me, designed them. And the inside, he's done the ceilings like night skies. And so they're
I've
this gorgeous shade of blue with stars, but the architecture is just Renaissance,
Mm-hmm.
just beautiful. And also, my favorite venue is actually Brooklyn Academy of Music. Bam,
mm,
Oh.
the most beautiful. And then Baby Bam, we call it Baby Bam. It's across the street. So that stage is so famous. So much has happened on Baby Bam's stage. I mean, all the way to I remember I was looking at one of Janet Jackson's album covers, and I was like, that's Bam. And I knew it because of the brick that was missing behind her head. And I was like,
Oh,
there's no one
wow.
that has that hole. That's Bam. Oh wow, she did it at Bam. But like, yeah, it's a gorgeous, gorgeous venue because the inside is kind of like Greek. It's half done, almost like there's a like a dilapidation,
Like an old
but
theater
Mm-hmm.
inside. Yeah.
it's on
Mm-hmm.
purpose. Where you go, oh, that's not finished, or that fell off, or but it's just beautiful. So Madison Square Garden is pretty much it looks like the inside of everything else. It's just Madison Square
Yeah.
Garden. It's
But
New York. Don't do the Hyatt.
Helen, if you were working at those Fox theaters, would you be doing costume? Would you be photographing, or what would the ultimate be?
Oh,
Oh
I mean,
no,
you have
it'd
so
be
many talents. I don't even know which one.
right.
it'd be when you're working in theater. It's always about costume. See, so here's
Costume.
the thing.
Okay.
My trade is costume. I went to school for costume design. That's my trade.
Yes.
Like if the world went to hell in a handbasket, I'd be the chick on top of the mountain hemming people's
Dressing
pants.
everybody.
Like the all black lady up on the mountain, she can fix your pants. Like that's you can do that no matter what. You don't need anything, right? So,
Oh, I love
and
that.
so that will always be with me because that's my hands. I'm a
Yeah.
laborer. I'm a hands girl, right? That's
Oh,
my
I
thing.
So,
love that.
That I'm that's my thing. Yeah. So it's always about the hands. The photography came because when I was working on film, and no disrespect to script supervisors, y'all are lovely. I love you. I didn't trust the script supervisors to take my continuity photos. So I took
mm,
my own continuity photos
Mhm.
because when you're working on a film and you go, why is his collar up? And literally she just spoke to him and it was down. That's continuity. And the issue is usually because even between scenes when the camera has to change, if the continuity photos are not taken properly, which means, all right, cut. Boom, you go in, you take the face, you take the hands, you take the collar, you take everything, you do everything. Script supervisors are responsible for that. If they are not
Ooh.
tight, and what I mean is tight by my standards, not tight by industry standards, because it's two different things. I go a little overboard, but it hasn't hurt.
Right?
Then they're going to screw up. And I had that happen one time, and the take wasn't able to be redone. So I picked up the camera. And in the beginning, I go to the director and I go, I take my own shots. And they're like, okay, fine. Because then for them, I'm always on
Mm.
set anyway. So it really was. I took shots when I was in high school because I used to, take shots of my friends and stuff. But it just then evolved. I never put the camera down. So after I take behind the scenes and I'm taking crew because no one shoots the crew. So I'm shooting
Mm-hmm.
crew and I'm shooting. I'm a crew girl. That's
so
my thing. I'm always
Yep.
aware of working person because they make the magic happen. Yeah, homegirl could sing, but if the mic wasn't powered on and the wig person didn't show up and her makeup
Mm-hmm.
artist didn't come and the costume designer wasn't there and the wardrobe person wasn't standing in the wings with the needle just in case something pops, she would be,
Yeah.
takes
SHIT out of luck, right? So I,
It's
you
all
know,
production.
I kept shooting. I just kept shooting, and then it becomes a skill, and that's really how that happens.
Wow.
But it's costume design and wardrobe supervisor work first.
Okay,
uh,
so at some point we'll meet up somewhere and we're gonna have Helen bring her photo albums.
I
Cause
know.
you know that's some business we gotta see. That's
Pretty
you've
awesome.
got some pictures.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I've got like, I mean, I know I've been talking. There's one story where you talk about if you met a person. My one story that I always tell is the Morris Day story. Like, Morris Day from the time. It makes me laugh. But I can tell it or not if you don't have time. It's up to you.
No,
Please
go
tell it.
for it.
No.
Our time restriction was just
Oh,
what could
okay.
fit into your schedule.
Oh,
So
I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine. And Phil just came. So, babe. Okay, just checking to make sure you're here. Okay. I was just checking to make sure you were here. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Um. So I was working on this film called A Woman Like That. Director was David Talbot. There's a show, there's a movie. It's brilliant. It's a Christmas movie on Netflix right now called Jingle Jangle, and David is
Oh
the
yes,
director.
I've seen it.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's
Christmas
David's
movie
house.
obsessed. Yeah.
20 years in the making. I think he was even writing it when we were working on the show. David is a brilliant theatrical director, and he moved into film. One of the first films that he really tackled was called A Woman Like That. It was an ensemble cast, and it was absolutely brilliant. Everybody was on that thing. So I got the gig as wardrobe supervisor, and pretty much kind of a few months out of school. Um, the cast included Morris Day, who had, his part. I forget what his part was, but anyway, everybody's handling every actor with kid gloves because it's Tyra Banks,
Mm.
Malik Yoba, let's see, Chip Fields, who was Kim Fields' mom, Gary Dordan, who was he was the man at the time, and of course, it was just huge. Jean Claude Lamar, it's all of these heads, and Morris, he came in about a week into shooting, because they don't show up at the beginning because it's not their
Mm.
turn to go on camera. And when he came in, everyone was like, "Uh oh, Morris is here." And the first thing Morris said was, he wanted to go out. He wanted to party. He wanted to hang out at the clubs. He's staying in New York. He doesn't want to be in his hotel room. So everyone knows that I am a child of the New York night scene. So that's
Yeah.
me, house music all day long, right? All night long. So I knew every club in New York. Aside from working my tail off, I was also in the club. And someone goes to him and says,
Sleep
"Well, Helen,"
deprivation.
they go, "Helen goes out, you can, she'll take you, to a club." Then they come to me and go, "You're charged with taking Morris out." I was like, "How am I charged with taking Morris out?" They're like, "He wants to go to a club." "When does he want to go?" "He wants to go tonight." "Oh, he wants to go tonight." Okay. So after the show, after the day, I end up there was Lisa, who she was like a producer, and then like her girlfriend, right? And her girlfriend had a yellow VW Bug. The Volkswagens, the
Yep.
old school
Oh
punch
yeah.
car,
Oh yeah.
right? So I tell her, I said, "Pick me up at my house. We're going to go to," and ironically, so I knew the scene well enough. Every night there was something happening. And this night was at a club called Cheetahs. Barbara Tucker, who was a well known house music artist, she hosted the night. And so I was like, and she was a friend of mine. So I was like, "Oh, we'll go to Cheetahs. Easy." So they picked me up. And then we have to go to Manhattan and get Morris because they picked me up from Brooklyn. Everybody's in Brooklyn. So we're in, three of us already in the Bug like this, right? Because the Bug is little, but yellow. So there was a hotel called the Millennium Hotel. Yeah, get ready to laugh. There was a hotel called the Millennium Hotel. And it got wiped out with 9/11, but it was this
Mm.
before. So it was there. And the Millennium Hotel in Manhattan used to have a red carpet that extended from the front door entry of the hotel all the way to the curb, right? So whoever was coming in would feel like whatever part of royalty they were. And you hit Morris and say, "Hey, we're pulling up, to the hotel." Right. And he's like, "Oh." Now, we hadn't said anything about what transportation was or whatever. It was just like, "Yo, you going to hang out with Helen." Okay. So Lisa pulls up because, she was the brightest bulb.
Sorry.
Yes.
You know what tablets are that were on there?
Yeah, everything is in the bathroom.
Yeah, this one's not.
Everything's in the, right on the side.
Yeah, I see them.
It's
not in there with them.
Do you need to do that right now?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh,
you're gonna,
let me have a look.
do I do this in your interview? Anyway, okay. Take a look, boo, and then let me know. Otherwise, we have to. Can y'all excuse me for a second? Because we
Yeah,
can.
we're good.
You right. Okay.
It's just life. It's so life.
Is that what you need?
It is, but it's fine.
Okay. Okay. I'm on the interview.
I'm so sorry.
That's all right, man.
Sorry. My favorite British word.
So
I
You're
love that.
pulling up. Pulling up to the Millennium Hotel.
didn't
In the
say
Bug.
anything about the Bug. And she parks it right at the edge of we pull up on the curb. She parks it right at the edge of the red carpet, literally. So if you open the door, you can step on the red carpet and walk to the thing. No other cars on the street. So imagine, a Millennium Hotel. It's all glass front. red carpet, the yellow bug, right? I get out of the car and I go into the hotel, and Morris comes down the elevator. He's got on a white cream cashmere, double
Wow.
breast with the cashmere coat, with the white cashmere coat, just clean, clean looking. I'm tripping out, of course, a little bit because I was like, damn, this is Morris Day. Okay. So I go inside. Hey, Morris, hey, I'm right here. Okay, cool. And he's like, all right. And he's walking. And then I open the door and he's standing and he looks straight ahead and he's like, I'm not getting in. And I said, that's what. And he's like, I'm not getting in that. I was like, okay, well, that's all we got. So I guess this is it. He was just like, oh, he was so pissed. But see, it's Morris. So he was hilarious at the same time because we had already gelled in personality. So it wasn't like he was pissed. It was
Yeah.
like he was talking crap, but I was talking crap back, right?
Okay, wait.
So
New York taxis are yellow too, right?
no, boo. This was yellow like this yellow.
Even better.
New York taxis are like this yellow. It's the difference, right? And it's a bug. It's a bug.
Oh my
The
God,
bug,
it's cozier.
right? And they all
It's
smell
cozy.
like juicy fruit gum.
I love it. I love it. Did he
They all
get in?
smell. He got to the car and opened the door and got in the back because Lisa and my girlfriend were in the front, and I got in the back with him, and he was in the back like, I can't believe you got me in this car. I was just like, look, we going to the club. This is what we going to the club in. He was like, so we get there, and as we're driving, he was like, keep going. I can't let nobody see me get out of this car. I was like, what?
It's like mom dropping you off to school.
We went around the block, we, parked,
Oh,
and then we walk up. And so I come up and I'm walking. And so Lloyd was at the door. I know Lloyd, right? And so he's the doorman for the night. He's fabulous, right? Beautiful. And he's got the stanchion in his hand. He's like, Helen, hey girl, how you doing? What's going on? And I said, hey Lloyd, how you doing? I got more stay.
You're like, ah.
I was like, Morris. And Morris is like, standing there. And Lloyd was like, what? I was like, Morris. He went,
You're like, that's
took out.
me. I got him.
He was like, Helen coming to the club. She got more stage. Helen coming to one more stage. So we all go in the club, right? And Morris, he's coming in. He's so fly. To this day, he's so fly. Like, and he's coming in. We go downstairs. And when we get downstairs, ironically, and this made me look even better, like George Benson was performing that night. And so then one of the security guards comes downstairs, they hear that we're there, and we're chilling, and, talking with him because now we're just like vibing. He was so cool. We're just vibing. And plus, I'm in my territory. This, I come here every Wednesday night. Everybody's like, yo, what's up, Helen? I was like, yo, what's up? So
that's
we're chilling.
awesome.
And the guard came down and said, hey, George wants to meet you. And Morris was like, chilling with Helen, because when he knew we were going out, that's one thing. But to be in a club with the person who took you out and you're famous, but you find out that everybody knows the person who you came with, I think something else shifts. And you're like,
Yeah.
okay, girl, who are you? That's pretty much
Yeah.
like, he was like, what,
Yeah.
what you do
Yeah.
wardrobe, and I was like, this is my house, right? So we went
Yeah.
upstairs.
So cool.
We were on the dance floor, we were dancing, and he had the coat, and he was swishing the coat, and I was like, "Ooh, I'll be on the cover of the Inquirer, I'm dancing with Morris Day."
Oh my gosh.
We had such a great night. So the next day, we were on set, and I mean, from there, Morris became my dude. He gave me his number, kept in touch. I went to another show, saw him in the show, and the guard wouldn't let me in the show. This is like about 2 months later. And I went, I know him. Just, and the guard was like, yeah, sure. So during one part of the show, I'm just standing there, and Morris goes, I need 20 ladies to come on stage and do the bird with me, And I was like, I go to the guard, can I go on stage and do the bird with Morris? And he was like, oh, go ahead, Jesus. So I was there with two friends of mine. And they're like, go ahead, Helen. And because I was trying to get in touch with Morris, I hadn't spoken to him. I went straight
You're
up
like, we'll
on
just do it on stage.
I did. I went straight on stage and I went and stood right in front of him and was like, you know how hard it is to get in touch with you? And he went, oh my God, Helen Simmons, ladies and gentlemen. He was like, Helen. And I was like,
And then you turned and looked at the guard and went,
I did. I did. I looked at him. I was like, I told you I knew him. And Morris was
yeah.
like, yo, are you staying? I was like, yeah. And I was like, there go my friends. And my friends Keto and Sekou were like, oh my God, this is crazy. No. And Morris was like, yo, don't leave. Just go in the back. So we went and we hung out in the trailer. So then we hung out, the band came and I met Jerome and you know what I mean? And we were just on the
Wow.
trailer cracking jokes, laughing the whole time. So Morris Day is my like, oh
That is
snap. You know, he ended up being
awesome.
so cool. And then we had, you know, the forward after. So it was, yeah, he's a good guy. Good guy. But
Okay, so
all of
Helen,
it,
okay, your New York
Wow.
stories and East Coast stories are incredible. So what's it like living in California now? Do you miss it? Like, do you miss it, or is California home now?
I mean, because, you know, my people are in New York. So I go back and forth.
Yeah,
And then, you know, think about it. You talk to your girl every day. You know, they stay on
yeah,
my phone, like, you know, to the point where it's just kind of like, yeah, my friends call, I'll just be like, what? You know, like, it's, what are
Yeah.
we doing? You know, or
Yeah.
you'd be like, what's I talk to my friends every day. They text, and but I have the type of friendships where everybody that I've been a friend with, my newest friend in my life, like that's my like core, my girl, Laura. I've known her for 25 years. All the
yeah.
rest of my
Mm.
friends, I've known my oldest friend, I'm still cool with her. That's my ace. She knows where the bodies are buried and she brought the shovels.
Yep.
3 years old, we've been friends, you know, since we were three. And then the rest of my friends, we've been friends since high school,
High
15.
school. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk all the time. Like that, we don't even, it won't even be a talk. It'll just be like Diane will be in my phone and she'll just write my name. She'll be like Helen. And then I'll just write Sugar D. You know, like it's just,
Yeah.
that's her name. I'm Helly Hell, she's Sugar D. Like,
That's, do you know,
Um,
Katya and I met actually backstage at a Warrant show in 1989.
when we were
And
15,
so,
16.
and we were 15 and 16, and just, you know, through all of that, stayed in touch and connected and have had not the adventures that you've had, but
oh, I'm
oh
sure
my
you,
gosh, but it's you're talking when you're talking friends here, we're looking at each other through the screen
We're
going,
like,
uh-huh,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
mm,
yeah.
we know.
yeah.
We know. Oh, okay.
It's
So
funny.
Helen, I know we have had you on a long time. Can I ask you a few more questions?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's funny she mentioned Warrant. I just interviewed
Oh,
Joey Allen 2 days ago for
oh,
Taking Notes, my interview
Yeah.
show. Yeah,
Has
he's
that
gonna be.
aired?
Yeah, I'm in the second season.
No, but I mean that I've heard a few of them. I try to
Oh,
catch them.
Joey, no, I just interviewed Joey. Joey's gonna
Okay.
be in the next season. Yeah,
That's so fun.
yeah,
That's so
yeah.
okay.
fun.
Well,
We
that actually leads us to one of the questions. Tell us about the shout out.
Oh, okay. The shout out. What you mean, like how it started or how it?
oh,
How's it going? What's your
I love
vision for it? I mean, it sounds like you're absolutely
yeah.
enjoying it.
I am. Playing music is a natural occurrence for me. You know, just of course you grow up listening to the radio. You know, you love what you love, and
Mm-hmm.
once again, being a Gen Xer, having the fortunate experience of having mu- having music be a part of your life no matter what, and also having the fortunate experience of having such a mixed genre because we grew up with MTV, so it was all about everything. MTV, Soul Train, American Bandstand, Don
Mm-hmm.
Kirshner rock concert, Wolfman Jack, video music box. You know, like it
Yeah.
was just Sesame Street, the Magic Garden, Electric Company. You know,
Oh my gosh.
it's all of that. You know, Schoolhouse Rock. It's all music,
Yes,
right?
it's
You
all
know, it's either
music.
teaching you, soothing you, you know, so you get this stuff and then we get older and it becomes core. So then
Yeah.
there's a point where you regurgitate, right? It comes out. And that's what it was during COVID. It became
Mm-hmm.
this, you know, the avenue it presented itself. And I named it the shout out because one, people always saying, I want to give a shout out to, you know, I got to, you know, and I was like, that's what I am, you know, I'm
Mm-hmm.
always shouting somebody out or someone shouting me out. So I just felt it was something that was easy to remember because it's true.
Mhm.
And then I just started playing music. The beautiful thing about it is being married to Phil. Initially, it was Def Leppard fans coming in like, let me see what she's doing. But then that turned into, well, darn, okay, that's cool. Because I think people expected me to play Def Leppard music. And I was like, that's very cute. But my life,
Mhm.
oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. I was just like, I got
Mhm.
I got some stuff. I want to play Adam Ant. So
Right.
I ended up playing the music that I wanted to play, and then being in a position where I could explore catalog. Because to this day, Phil will play something. I'll be like, "Babe, what's that?" And he's like, "That's Def Leppard." And I'm like, "Oh, I didn't know. Okay, I didn't know. I didn't know that album. I don't know the album. Play the album." I don't know
It's
all
a
the music.
lot, right? There's a lot to know.
Music, but I didn't say, okay, let me immerse myself into that world.
Mhm.
I'm still I'm still living my life. I'm still a
Mhm.
part of the things that are part of my life. And so the music allowed me to express that. And then you get to show people that there's this broad range. But then of course you get to share with them the things that they were a part of as well. Because my audience, as you know, is mostly Gen Xers, right?
Mhm.
You so when you start playing, late 70s, well, me, you know me, I'll play 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s,
Mhm.
90s, maybe 2000s. My motto is no whack tracks, but I kind of cut it off there. But when you start going into your late 70s, early 80s, it's brilliant, brilliant
Yeah.
music, and it's
Mhm.
across the board, no matter what genre you go in, right? So
Mhm.
you play in that, and then you begin to develop this relationship of community
Mhm.
with
Yeah.
your listeners. And if you do it consistently, just like watching Cal Burnett, or the shows that we used to watch, and we had
Mhm.
to wait a week. But
Yep.
you were there, 8 o'clock, you're in front of your TV, watching it. So I was raised on that consistency. And that's what I wanted my show to be, a haven of good feelings, euphoria, nostalgia,
Mhm.
um, grooves, and me, my
Mhm.
personality. Bill's great because, like, he's so cute. He'll come in and, you know, what you listening to? Or I'll be like, babe, I'm doing this playlist. You got some songs? And he'll like contribute some songs, but he's really supportive of it. And the listening base, of course, turned into the TSO audio crew. And
Yeah.
they are amazing. It's a family. Today, it's a family. Like,
Yeah.
when I have my show, and people come in there, they come to shout out. I'm on Mondays, and it is just I'm on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays I do a group thing, and then I'm on again Sundays with a quiet storm. And sometimes I do the late night rewind where I just let like classic 80s just rock like at 1 in the morning, it's this insomniac
Yeah.
sound.
Yeah.
But you have this thing, and it grew, and the people are there. They're loyal. They are loving.
Mhm.
They are also seeking like-minded individuals who are just good people. The beautiful thing with my show is that it brings together everyone. It doesn't matter what color you are, what your nationality is, what your political divide is. None of that stuff matters, because everybody's like, well, Let's Groove Tonight by Earth, Wind, and Fire is actually very cool. So when you can pull
It's
together
the
elements,
community.
everybody
Yeah.
together, it's a community. And I also have a chat on my phone. It's a text chat. And Shan Marie, 1976, got to shout you out, Shan Marie Johnson. She is the glue that holds that thing together. These ladies and gentlemen are on here waking up. Hey, good morning. Like, it's like literally just
Yeah.
nonstop. Good morning, Shan. She got on a plane. People take trips. They go, yo, my plane leaves this time. We're like, hit us when you land. Hey, okay, we're here. Send
Yeah.
pictures. But it's also a safe haven. We get
Mhm.
to, some of our listeners live alone, and are on their
Mhm.
own. Grown, the kids are gone. When the floods happen, or even when something had happened. It was in Virginia, but it was really bad weather, and we have two nurses in our chat, and they were just on call, and it was crazy, and like areas were blocked off, but we keep in touch. We're like, let us
Mhm.
know how you're doing. So it's this whole thing. And so it came about because of wanting to share music, but it stayed because of family.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so we're going strong.
I've been in there a few times, and what I love is just the text and the communication and the way that everybody's
The live
together.
chat.
It's hard with, we've got 3 kids. I have 7 kids, but we have 3 left at home, and so my time to, like, I can turn on the music and listen, but following along sometimes text, like, I don't know the last time I sat down for more than, like,
Right.
you know,
Yeah, no,
what.
you don't have to. You can totally
Yeah,
listen, and it's kid friendly. You can listen to the music and
yeah,
just
but
kind
it's
of, you know what I mean? And if it's
but
got
it's
bad words, I'll be like, this is explicit.
but I mean, what's really cool though, like you were saying, is the community is just, I could sense that, and that's one of the things that I absolutely love about it. And I think that it's an outlet for a lot of people, just like you were saying, that people depend on it. And I think that that's incredibly
Yeah.
amazing. And
Yeah,
I'm
it's like
glad that you're there.
I'm not on. They're like, "What do you mean you're not on?" I'm like, "Well, take a break, no." But it's you know what? It works into the schedule, and because I can do it from home.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing with my show is that, like I said, I keep it real. So I used to do it from my closet only because the sound was really good. Now I do it all over the house. Doesn't matter. But everyone knows. I've got Jackson here, and maybe sometimes Phil may be like, "Hey, babe, where's so and so?" And all of that I factor in instead of trying to make it be like, oh, well, it's incredibly quiet and professional and no one is here. I don't have time for that. I'm just like, I'm doing this from
Mm-hmm.
this is my son. He's my co-host sometimes. He'll be like, Mom, play so and so. Okay. Like, and Phil, he'll sit and he'll listen, he'll be quiet. He'll be like, or he wants to, talk to me as soon as I press play on the music and it goes mute for everybody. He's like, right. So,
Yeah.
so it just works out. I'm at home
Yeah.
and I'm able to do the dishes if I'm on. So I'll play a set, 5 songs. I go, that's dishes and the beginning of dinner, so it works out.
Yeah.
Yeah. We just need more listeners. We just want people to come in.
We'll give the links, and we're gonna put it out there, especially for our viewers and everything. It's really amazing, and I really love that you keep it real with that. On one of, and like I said, I've been there a few times. On one of them, you were like, you announced the set of 5 songs because Jackson needed a bath.
Yes.
And I was like, this is
Yes.
the most incredible, yes, okay, I'm in, because I was like, this is life, this is life. It
Yes.
was amazing, I loved it.
Oh, he's during the shows, he'll be like, Mom, I took the poop. And I'm like, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be right back. Okay? I
Yeah,
go wipe the bum. You know what I mean? It's just like I took the poop. I was like,
Okay.
it works
yeah,
it works so much better, So I feel like and I feel like I'm contributing something to
You are.
just
You're
the
creating a community. That's
and for Stationhead, the way that it works, like if people already have Spotify Premium or Apple Music, they've already bought the car to listen to me. All I got to do is get in and drive.
yeah,
It's free. It's a free station. It's
yeah,
free account set up. Because it streams through your Apple Music and your Spotify Premium. So if you have it, you're good.
I,
yeah.
I live by it. Yes.
And it gives the artist the credit for the streams. For
Yeah.
everybody that's listening, the artist gets the credit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
my
love
my
that.
my my thing I say is replays repay the artists we love. And
Yeah.
so Stationhead was developed by a guy named Ryan Starr, who won America's Got Talent or something like that. In 2017, he started Stationhead with an
Okay.
angel investor because he wanted artists to receive the rewards of the songs they created. And so each stream accounts towards a stream towards that artist's Billboard charting and revenue stream. And so the amount of people you have in your room is the amount of streams that go towards that artist. And when
Mm-hmm.
people replay it, it continues to do that. So that's the other brilliant thing. It's really about the artist. And so the more people you get in your room, the more the
Mm-hmm.
song will stream. I play songs, of course, on repeat. I've got the thing, I do themes every Monday. But they've got stations on there, like the K-pop stations have like 1 million people in there. Like
Yeah.
I mean 1 million. I don't mean like a million. I mean like a
No.
million
Million.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
K-pop's wild.
it's yeah, it's crazy. But people have stations on there. I think Nicki Minaj has a station on there, and who else just joined? I saw there was an actor that just joined in there, but it's a lot of famous people on there. But I don't really pay attention to who's on there because I'm too busy trying to program my show. But Station Head is huge, and AMP had their thing, which was it was Amazon Music platform.
Mm-hmm.
It closed, and when it
Oh.
closed October 2023, everybody on AMP also went to Station Head. So Station Head was this thing kind of under the radar, but it blew up because everybody on AMP was like, where do we go? And all of those people were from COVID. We're all sitting home, like,
Doing
please,
great.
and talk over it, you know? And Station Head, it's just brilliant. It's a great place. And I'm also making sure that my tracks move people. You know, I want you to go, I have not heard this in ages. And I go, aha, you know, so, it's about the music.
It's when I first discovered it, and actually, you know, we'll give a shout out, Brenda, Lady Luck, and
That's
Amy
right.
Demolition Woman. They were the
Right.
two that were like, hey, you got to go check this out. And I was like, okay, because you talked about, you know, the Def Leppard core, the fan
That's
base
right.
there. And those
Right.
ladies have also been very supportive of our show. And it was funny
Yes.
when I was telling Katya about it, I was like, you know, and we just I just threw it out there and we've done nothing with it. But we have a really cool theme song. And I was kind of like, we should start a channel. We should do a Rock the Life channel.
Oh,
And it would be so cool. Like all these different artists that we're talking to and different bands that we talk to fans about and all this stuff. We could just totally incorporate it all in. And then of course, speaking, you know, and then we could play the Rock the Life song because that gives my husband credit for that song. And then maybe he could be more than a dollionaire, like a dollar, you know.
Sorry. Maybe you're making me No, it isn't. I mean, anything like the music bringing people together. That is. So, Helen, being in Southern California, you didn't go to Coachella over the weekend?
That's not my thing.
Okay.
I don't get down with festivals and going out there and a million people. And
It
my
gave
son
me
is my
anxiety looking at that.
yeah, that's not my thing. When people call and go, yo, we're going to, first of all, I have partied enough for 18,000 rock stars. I've already done.
You are the rock star.
I used to spend the night in the club, right? And my grandmother would be like, if you go to the club on Saturday, you better go to church on Sunday. I would put my church clothes in my knapsack, get dressed in the club bathroom, and go to church. Or come to church and get dressed in the church bathroom and go upstairs. Like, I was no joke. I partied. And when and the great thing about New York nightclub scene, that doesn't mean like drugs and alcohol and stuff. I was a dancer. So I danced, you know, danced. And I could dance for 10 hours. The clubs opened at midnight and they closed at 9 and 10 in the morning. And I was there.
Oh, I
And
know.
they was club every single night. I have partied so hard. When it comes to like Coachella and all that stuff, one, not my vibe. Two, no artists there that I want to see. And I'm not trying to be funny. Who am I going to go see? I'm a grown ass woman. Ain't nobody at Coachella talking. No. That's
I've
my
been
line.
looking at the list trying to pick out artists to be like, oh, Japanese breakfast. I got that one. I was like, oh, there's a few.
No, I'm okay. I sit here. I got my Apple Music playlist. I'm good. I got my speaker. Look,
Got the comforts of home. Yeah, no, that is.
So yeah, and then like the other thing, I used to travel for a living. So when you know you go out to anything, it has to be totally worth it. Like Phil and I, we've gone to, I can count them on one hand. We went to go see the Who as a concert. You know, where we're in the audience, like and we went to see the Rolling Stones. We were like, oh, this is cool. And we went to see Stanley Clark and Chick Corea, and like a
Oh,
piano.
Chicoria.
You
Yeah.
know, and then there's like this little jazz club, and we have a friend, and Scott, he plays piano, and like we'll go check him. But that's something that holds like what, maybe like 50 people.
Yeah.
We'll do like
That's
a
what.
grown up
Yeah.
thing. But like, you know, the Woodstocky type, you know, and the kids and I'm not partying with no children. They can't party with me. No, honey. We don't. Children cannot party with Helen.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
I have
I was just looking at. Go
There's
ahead.
nothing a child could do to show me how to party. I'd be like, child, you're doing it wrong. I can't.
Is it sometimes challenging to go, like you were talking about the Who and the Stones, because so many people know Phil? Does that get challenging sometimes, or do they kind of respect your space?
People are really people. Well, they'll come up and say hi. Like when we went to the cool thing is because he is Phil, so we would go backstage. We met everybody. I remember, and I got to meet Billy Idol. It was Roger Daltrey, Phil, Billy Idol was there, and Joan Jett. And I remember standing back and like, so Billy, Roger, and Phil, they're like talking because they're all, they're London. It's like when you go somewhere and you see your people and you're like, hey. So
Yeah.
it's none of the star stuff, but it was cool. Then they're like exchanging numbers and like Phil's looking at his phone and Roger pulls out his specs and then Billy pulls out his. And I was just like, look at these grown men trying to look at the little numbers on their phone. I was like, this is so normal, right? All the rock star stuff. If it wasn't
No,
for
say,
Billy and all, you know.
I was going to say, how does Phil handle being married to Helen? I think that's more of the real question of it. Like,
I think he likes it. He likes when we're equally yoked. So
Mm-hmm.
he
yeah,
he knows I can hold my own. He's got somebody who he can be like, you know what, just call Helen, she'll handle it. Because he knows that I'll pull it together. Whatever it is, anything that's like huge or big or whatever, the faith is there in handling the situation. And then the other stuff like. Of course, if you're married to someone and you walk in a room and people go up to you and go, "Yo, she's so dope," and you're like, "Yeah, thanks,"
I know,
So
I know.
he he appreciates that as well. But it's a cool thing. So we're like best friends. So it's very easy. Well, I had him on the show on taking notes, and I was recording him, and I'm looking at him because I'm like, we joke all the time, and we were just laughing. I was like, oh my god, how am I gonna get to this thing? Because he's so funny. He's funny like my funny. Like when he says
Yeah.
something, and I go, did you just I can't. Like he's hilarious. So yeah, no, it works. It,
Fantastic.
it,
Yeah.
totally, it totally it totally works. But yeah, we're just in a situation right now where we're just riding, you asked about the thing with him going out. People are very respectful. They come up to him. They do say, "Oh, yo, I saw you at," or "Me and my wife went to," and but Phil's cool. He's like very you could walk up to him and he's like, "Oh, thanks," because there's no rock stardom with the Def Leppard guys because they came from working class families.
Yeah.
Their mothers, their fathers. It's you know, and I'm gonna say this on air. All right. So anybody who's a rock star, you don't like what I'm saying, I ain't got nothing to do with that. That sounds personal. This situation where people act above their station. Yeah, beautiful. You heard that? I took the pool. Okay.
I get it.
Oh, you got him? Okay, thank you. Took the pool. Yeah, pooping.
Talk about station. You just mentioned people above their station,
No,
and you hear Phil go, "I got it."
that's my child. That boy got a good colon. He got a good colon. He take the poop.
That was
So
perfect.
yes, I told you. Yeah. So but the situation is that they come from these working class
Hmm.
families. And what I was going to say was for anyone who you hear stories about who is famous, and across the board famous. They could be a doctor famous. They could be a politician famous. They could be a rock star famous,
Hmm.
entertainer, actor, whatever. If they are acting like I need the green M&Ms counted.
Mm.
I need red roses. I need the cookies to be softer. Literally, see, God don't give me these type of jobs to work with those type of people because I'm the wrong one. I would be like, you are bugging the hell out right now, right? Working the job that people are sitting home somewhere in their basement practicing till their fingers bleed so they can do what you do. And you're gonna sit there and ask for something crazy instead of be grateful that you still got the body parts and the breath in your body to do it. So I have no tolerance for anyone who acts above their station and treats other people poorly because of their position. How dare you?
Yeah.
How dare- So that to me, if you meet a rock star, if you meet an actor and they're acting all crappy, now there's a possibility they had a crappy day. But here's
Hmm.
the thing: too much is given, much is expected. So if you've had a crappy day, and that's not just you because you're famous, because everybody gets a crappy day. If you cannot control your emotions in public or when you're dealing with people you do not know, to put it aside and be gracious enough to go, hey, how you doing? Okay, I'm gonna take a step
Mm-hmm.
back. Had a lot going on, but thank you so much. If you don't have it in you to do that, then you don't deserve the position you have.
Yeah.
There's no reason ever for anyone to be in a position where they treat people who they deem lesser than. One thing I love about this band, and I do it too, and I loved it when I saw Phil. When we go into venues, you know who's the most important person in that venue? It's not the producer who's paying. It's not the people who are in there because of the band. It's not the band. The most important people in there are the ones who are sweeping, cleaning that toilet, the dude
Mm.
in the hall with all of the keys on his pocket.
Yeah.
Because you know
Mm-hmm.
what? If you disrespect them and get locked out of your dressing room, you might miss your show because he might be like,
Yeah.
"Hmm."
Don't know where that key is.
So those
Yeah.
people, when you see them, yeah, hey, how you doing? Why wouldn't you say hi to the people that are keeping your area clean, or be cordial, or say thank you, or say good night? You make sure. Or what's your name? The woman keeps coming in. She's cleaning the dressing room. Baby, what's your name? Like what? So I can have a conversation with you.
Yeah.
And you know what? I've practiced that through the years because I would go back to the same venues because when I was working for Harry, I ended up being the Eagles girl. I was the Eagles VIP person before Def Leppard. And we went to a lot of the same venues. So when I was working with Kanye, I went to the same venues. And then it was Earth, Wind, and Fire, same venues. And then the Eagles. So you may do different artists, but you're at the same venues to the
Same.
point that I would get in there and they'd see me and be like, hey, girl, you back? Yeah. How you doing? Because it's the same
Wow.
people. Now,
Yeah.
then that doesn't work. So this
Yeah.
band, they're brilliant. Phil, brilliant. There's one security guard. Babe, what's the security guard's name who gave me the earrings?
Sorry?
Remember when we would go on tour and every time we went to the venue and it was he and his wife, but he was a security guard. He gave me those really cute
Salt Lake
earrings.
City.
Salt Lake City. And what was his name?
Um,
Is it Bob?
who?
Bob?
No.
No. But I know. We get into that age, we'd be like, your man, your
Yeah.
people's.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know
You
that's
you
us.
could you could describe what he looks like, but there
Yeah.
goes the name.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel you there.
But yeah, but there's this guy, and
Uh,
Phil knew him so well. Like he would, even when I wasn't going, Phil would be like, "Oh, I saw so and so. He asked about you and said hi." And I was like, "Oh,
Oh.
him and his wife." It was a security guard at Salt Lake City
that
every
speaks to you.
single time. And then I went, and then he was like, "Oh, my wife made these earrings for you." I was like, "Thank you." But it's
Oh.
that. But then they remember that because, and I've told him this. You know who takes stories home about you?
Hmm. Exactly.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
it's the
Hmm.
people
Mm-hmm.
who. So you think they don't matter. So you may be an artist or an actress or whatever, and you're treating people like whatever. And then that woman or that man is going to go home. They got a family and they got friends and they're going to talk about
Yeah.
you. And you just lost a segment of people because that story is going to grow. So if you were not nice, it's going to turn into, and then she kicked me and slammed the door in my face. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
going to be like telephone, right? It's turning something
Yeah.
else.
We we had an experience when we were younger, actually, where
Mm.
a band that we liked drove up to this huge venue in Oakland in a Holiday Inn van. So they took the Holiday Inn van to the venue. And
Right,
so after the show, we
right,
took our own
Teenage
car
girls.
to the
Hmm.
Holiday Inn. And we're
right.
like, oh. So we kind of walk through the hotel and we find, I guess it was a bar or a lounge or something. And the singer, who I won't name, but the singer was like, get the F out. And, the other
We
guys
were
in the
just
band
like,
took pictures with us. But you know what? I didn't listen to that band for probably 20 some odd years
Right.
after that because I was like, that just spoiled it. I really liked it, but
Right.
the feeling that left you was,
I should with you
mm.
because my crew, when we were, see, I'd have said something like, hold up, didn't you take a Holiday Inn van to the venue? I don't know what your budget is, but obviously, black luxury sedan is not a part of it. Okay, so we're going to go because we got a car, but Talk to you later. You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
about?
Yeah.
yeah,
I'd be
and
like, "This is you."
we did talk about that later. We're like, well, if they didn't want people to know where they are, don't take the Holiday Inn bus, don't take the
No,
van to the venue.
you weren't
Mm-hmm.
But
thinking.
those are all lessons we learned too from people. Like
Mm-hmm.
you don't treat people like that, and that's not how you go.
Right. Yeah. It's unfortunate that people act, and they still act like that. People act like that, to this day. I'll tell you this, like, so when I got the Dancing with the Stars gig, what I did was, I remember I was in a room, and you come in the room and you got to introduce yourself to the dancers. These are the TV dancers, right? And so everyone's in there like, and right? You come in the room, you're in the front, and you're like, so I went and I stood in front of everybody, and I swear to God, I said this. I said, right, hi everybody. My name is Helen Simmons, and I am your wardrobe supervisor for the tour. And I want to ask, because they were half listening, how many of you have heard of me? And they were like, and I said, great, because I never heard of none of y'all either. We on the same playing field. I am here to take care of your clothing. You need me. My name is Helen. You will introduce yourselves to me as we come aboard, right? And that was it. I said, any other questions? You know where to find me. And I walked out. Like, they were like, did this chick just say she never heard of it? Because I didn't watch Dancing with the
Yeah.
Stars. So you have to remember, you're a star in your own world. But if your head is that big where you think everybody's what? No, boo, I was working, so I'm not watching TV.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's how
Hmm.
I got here
Yeah.
because I was
Working
working.
hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I
It's
mean? So
So
it's just, go ahead.
now I was going to ask you, who is the best dressed person in the business now? Whose style do you watch and look at?
Whose style am I watching?
Yeah.
Whose style am I watching in terms of, and when you say best dress, this is every day based on, or when you see them on the red carpet, because that doesn't really count
Oh, that's
because
your
a
red
style,
only
carpet
red
doesn't say.
carpet.
I'd say every
Yeah.
day. I'd say every day
Yeah.
because red
yeah.
carpet is so much of like who styled them. So
Yeah.
Who I think looks great, and I always go to Phil and go, look at him. He looks
yeah.
great.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Is oh Lord, gotta pull this man's name up. I should know better than this. Okay, Daniel Craig is one of them. Fierce
Oh
style,
yeah.
brilliant style. As for the women, I'm okay. I'm from Brooklyn, all like, yeah, party up, party up. But I'm a little conservative, right, in my old age. And I'm not down with the
You're young.
whole that and you showing me what your mama gave you. And outside when people are like walking and wearing their gear, I gotta say, Jada Pinkett has dope style. Like her style is
Mm.
great. She has a great style, like outside. I've seen stuff of her just walking
Mm-hmm.
on the street. It's like, oh, this girl is so fly.
Mm-hmm.
Jada's dope. Um, who else? Uh, who holds it together cute? I don't know. I mean, I give props to pretty much everybody because then my brain will also see someone and be like, oh, she tried.
That's what my kids say to me all the time. So
Yeah.
it's okay.
Well.
I gotta say, I'm a little, you'd be like, oh, Helen, I'm not Judgy Judy, but still, I'll be like, now, girl, we
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
it.
I
All
love giving
right.
my opinion all the time to people too. So it's okay. I love it's just yeah.
The culture's changed only because nowadays they make everything accessible. Everything goes. And with me, no, everything doesn't
Sure.
go. One of the
Yeah.
things that I think is crazy is when like people don't comb their hair, but they do their makeup. And you're like, what the hell are you doing? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's not,
I
it'll be like, and I'm talking, usually it'll be like the sisters and it'll be like the fro, but it's like kinked and pulled out and whatever. And I'm like, my grandmother would be like, girl, you need to braid your hair. Like this is not some stuff culturally. I think we got to be careful trying to get away with stuff because we go, well, they'll accept it for the culture. I don't. I'd be like, you know
Oh.
better. Go do your edges. What are you doing? Like I can't, so but then there are people I see and I'm like, they just fly all the time, but it's without trying. It's basically what
Yeah.
in jeans, or they got a good pair of shoes on, cute. Or Jennifer Aniston, her style, she's cute. She rocks some
Mm-hmm.
really cool stuff. Halle Berry, I've seen on the outside, and she always looks cute. She always
Mm-hmm.
is rocking something cute. And it's the style. But see, the people that I'm naming: Daniel Craig, Jennifer Aniston, Halle Berry, Jada, that's a from within. That
Yeah.
means that if they're wearing jeans and sneakers, they still look cool. So
Yeah.
it to me,
They know how
I
to
don't.
carry themselves. Yeah.
I'm not really I'm not a name brand person. I don't do the whole. That's not my thing. It's more so make it rock. Like here at home, because of Jackson, I'm really always in like probably a pair of jeans, a t-shirt. I rock hoodies. I have, I love turtlenecks and some blouses. In the summertime, I just like wearing sundresses. I'll put
Yeah.
on a sundress with like a cuff, a necklace. I'm an earrings girl. I see those earrings, Katya. I'll put that necklace is cute for you too, baby. I see that. Um, but I'm like earrings, and so I can't pass a costume jewelry spot without getting a whole bunch of earrings, and I'll be like,
Yeah.
$5. Oh God, I got to go.
Give me more.
Rock, especially when I shave my head. I shaved my head because I have alopecia areata, and so when
Ah,
Jackson was, I had locks down to my butt. But when
yes.
Wow.
when Jackson was born, he started my hair started thinning and my locks started
Yeah.
thinning. So I made the decision to cut my hair. 2 seconds I thought about Def Leppard and being a wife of a rock star, and then the third second was like, I don't care. And then I just cut it off, and
Well,
That looks amazing.
you're
I've been
you're
rock.
stunning. Like you have everything pulls it together. It was one of those. I'll tell you. Before when Katya and I were talking, we're like, okay, what are you wearing? And I was like, I had totally something different in mind, but I was like, oh my word. So when she gets on and she was like, that's not black. I was like, no, I went with pink, but I coordinated it all here, so it's fine.
I see. I see the eyes. I see the lips.
Yeah.
I tried.
Okay.
But it was so funny. And then I was leaving her this random voice message. I was just because I live, I'm at home with my son. We're homeschooling. We're actually doing some construction on our house. And my answer to her question was, "What are you wearing?" And I said, "Not a rock shirt." That was my answer. Not a rock shirt. Because that's, when you're at home, I'm like, that's the fallback. A hoodie
Okay.
and a
The
rock
girls,
shirt.
the girls. We're just the girls, just chilling.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the other person I was going to talk about style, Luke Evans. I love Luke Evans. Oh,
Oh.
that man, his style, just every day. Google Luke Evans and just look at
Mm-hmm.
his
Mm-hmm.
style. Just, oh my God, he just pulls it together so well. Him and Daniel Craig, they do the damn thing. So yeah, yeah, I love looking at men. I
Yeah.
think that men have such great style. I think Timothy Chalamet. I love it. The
Adorable.
I
Yes.
get into like super baggy pants, but he's got great style. I love his
Great
style.
style.
Carpet. Um, Zendaya,
Yeah.
really dope style. She does the damn thing.
Beautiful.
So yeah, so I love that. And the men, I feel even men costume
Mm.
designers are so
Oh.
awesome because they see you. They see you. So when
Oh yeah.
you look at like period movies and then you look at who the costume designer was and you go, that corset
Mm.
was snatched. I
Mm.
knew it was a man. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But men costume designers are brilliant. The clothing, so they've got a sense of style when they
Yeah.
really go deep. Women are beautiful, of course, but the men costume designers and men styling themselves and really into because they have the luxury of now wearing these. Luke Evans wears these classic three pieces, fitted,
Mm.
beautiful vests. I'm a clothes person. I am. Real
Mm-hmm.
quick. I don't go in on myself, but my eyes go in on everyone else. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I love it. I love it.
I I have to ask you this because okay, at my heart, I really love the rock style, and every single time I have like two different ones in my like Amazon cart, but I'm trying to look for a vintage shop or a resale shop to find it first. Okay. Um Phil's jacket.
Which
His
one?
it's his oh, what's it called? Now of course I
Steampunk?
forgot.
The steampunk jacket you love.
jacket with the
Steampunk?
tail and the long
What-
sleeves, and it's kind of tapered in the
Babe,
back.
babe,
I need me one.
babe.
Is it a-
Bill, come here for a second. At the stairs. Let me ask him.
I was wondering if it was a Helen original or a Helen design.
Oh no, I don't make any clothes for him. Everybody's like, "Oh, you do the
Oh.
band's wardrobe?" I'm like, no, they have a
Yeah.
wardrobe
No.
person.
Yeah.
Hey,
Oh, that's true.
what
That's true.
jacket that you had? This is Amy and Katya. They're interviewing me, right? But come say hi. So, but she's asking the jacket that you had, a steampunk jacket.
On
There
stage.
you go.
Hi, Phil.
Yeah.
Hey.
It's a. Tell them what kind of jacket is it?
It's long sleeved, and it's got kind of the tail in the back. It's tapered right at the small of your back, and usually you start the show with it. Of course, you don't end usually with it. But oh my gosh,
Did it have straps off of it? Like
Yes.
straps?
Oh,
Okay, yeah.
who's that? You or Miriam?
No, that was actually early 2000s, like 2005. I think it's in here. Actually, I don't know what brand it is. It's kind of nameless.
I need me one. I keep looking for one. I'm like, to rock that at a show? Oh, yes, please. It's amazing. I love that jacket.
Yeah, that's Gita. Okay, that's his other stylist, Gita. I know what you're talking about. It had distracted. That was yeah. That was a great jacket.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, you still have it?
Yeah, I think it's in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. She was like, she needs one. Yeah, I didn't know who made it.
yeah.
It's
I
gorgeous.
don't know. Yeah, I don't
We
know
lo-
where it is. I think it's in there
Yeah,
somewhere.
it might be in the.
Yeah,
It might
big.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because every year they have to do different.
Yeah.
Like, look, so he gets with this surplus of clothes. He's trying to figure out. So yeah, figuring out now. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Thank you.
it's hands down my
Yeah,
favorite.
we'll text you who it is. Yeah. So
Okay.
if I can find it in there, and then
That would be awesome. Yeah, I
All
need
right.
me one. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna repeat it over and over because I absolutely love it. But
Yeah, he wears really cool styles. It opened up once you put clothes on, you started getting really stylish.
that's true.
It's okay
When
without
coconut
clothes,
oil.
too.
Coconut
It's all
oil is a
fine.
fine attire. It works great.
Before it was really he was just dealing with jeans and sneakers because
Yeah.
he wasn't wearing. Once
Yep.
Yeah.
they got the stylist thing and everything, and then it turned
It-
into actual looks,
Yeah.
and they've been doing a great job. I think all of them look great. Yeah.
Well, that's the importance of a stylist in costume design, right? I mean, you're
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 Now they have Miriam, and
She's amazing.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
She is beautiful. Yeah, she's wonderful. Okay.
See you later.
we'll have to
Thanks,
follow her
Phil.
style too. Bye, Phil. Thanks.
Yeah. She's awesome. She's been with them now going on what, 3-4 years now? About
A few
3-4
tours.
years
Since COVID, yeah.
since COVID. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's been- yeah, so
Awesome.
during COVID. So you see them and they look like that. That's Miriam. She is brilliant.
Yeah.
Yes.
I live in Italy, and I feel like I need a fashion consultant.
I need it at this age. I feel like I need someone to help me
At the young age, yes. Mhm.
shape me, so that what needs to, it's flattering, it's good.
You know what it's about at this particular time. I know what you mean when you get older. Now is the time that you are making sure you're comfortable, but wear what you love. Because if you love it, you'll wear it like you love it. And if you wear it like you love it, then you have style.
Yep.
That so style is it's an aura, right? It's not like the thing you wear. You can put 4 people in a white t-shirt and a pair of jeans.
Yep.
The one who comes out and you look at them and go, well, that's cute, is the one who has style. And that's only because it's how the person feels about what they're wearing. And then they project it. And so that's
They do.
really,
They do.
that's what you have to do. You can go, and say, I love this, and things that you don't love so much, you go, oh, well, I wear this in the house. But the
Yep,
things that you love, Colors are great. When you feel good about colors convey a lot of things. You have blue, you have red. It depends on when you wear the color and what it conveys. I know that, you know, if you see me in a bright color, it's absolutely chosen. I've gone to, I've like orange sundresses, or yellow or bright green or royal purple. When you want to make the statement, you come in, as my godmother would say, you fall into the room,
Yeah.
but you be prepared for the energy you emit.
Yeah.
And if you can handle the energy that you emit, then you have the confidence and will wear the style. So you have to be prepared for that. So if someone's like, "Oh my God," then you've admitted this energy, but you receive it gracefully back, and that
I
creates the whole thing. You know what I mean? So it's all
Yeah.
combined, connected.
mhm.
You know.
I remember a time that was really impactful for me. The first time I remember feeling that. Like, I remember specifically, I was volunteering at a show up in Portland, and I felt really confident in what I had on. And I was a volunteer. I didn't have a laminate or anything like that. I was just working, and I felt really confident in what I had on. I felt like I looked good, and I felt, you just feel it, right? Like what you're saying. And I actually had people walk around me who were lost, needing help, and they go, "Well, I heard them say, 'Well, she looks like she knows what she's doing. Let's ask her.'" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, come ask
Yeah,
me. I can help
it's
you."
in,
And that,
it's
but
all.
that feeling was, this was forever ago, and I
Mhm.
still remember that moment.
Remember that.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
it's energy. It wasn't the clothes. I mean, you
Mm-mm.
chose what you had on, but
Mhm.
it's the energy. So and I always tell my son, I go, we're energy. That's why the thing talking about how people treat each
Mhm.
other,
Yeah.
the family of my show versus you guys meeting the band member and the energy that he put forth. He didn't take time to realize that he was emitting energy,
Yeah.
into the universe. And so you were emitting confidence, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it works like that. I tell Jackson, that's why if your heart stops, they use electricity to try and get it back. We're energy,
Oh, yeah.
right? It's all energy. You use electricity to plug things in to make them work. It's a current. So why would they use a current on your heart? Because you're energy. You
Mhm.
need, that's it. So everything you feel, you put that into what you're wearing,
Yeah.
and then you go, okay. And then, and you sort through. So you've already got everything you probably need in your closet already.
Yeah.
It just works. Then you get your eyeliner and your makeup and you go, well, I'm gonna match this with this. You know,
Yeah,
my
Amy, let's
small,
go. I'm ready. I'm ready. Let's go play with each
Right,
other's
right.
wardrobes.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, that's it. No,
I love
it's
it.
been a
Oh
wonderful
my
life.
gosh.
Wonderful life. Still going. Still going.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my gosh, this has been so great. I really hope, like, I know you have more stories to tell. I
Oh,
hope you'll come
touch
back.
on.
Yes.
I didn't even touch on them. I mean, when I worked at
I
Letterman, I touched everyone on the couch, and so I've Sylvester Stallone, Juliette Lewis, Pee Wee
Wow.
Herman,
Wow.
just stories galore. Just
Yeah.
brilliant, brilliant. Just
it's
wonderful people.
Yeah. And that's literally what we're about. That is our whole show. And
Rocking the.
it's yeah, it's, we started this, and we've said it on a couple other shows, so I hope for people who watch us regularly this isn't repeating too much, but we started talking about our fan experiences, and we started getting a pep back in. We were kind of blue for a while, and a little downtrodden,
mm,
I guess, and overwhelmed in life.
That's right.
And we started talking, and we started like feeling alive again, and we were
our
like, we can't be
passions.
the
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
And we're like, we can't be the only ones that feel that way. So let's start a podcast and let other people feel this too. That's
The
and here
excitement
we
you get
are.
over, yeah, following your passions
Yeah.
is,
That's That's it. And it survives because of the passion you have. You put the same passion into it. People watch it and they
Yeah.
go, yeah, I feel like that too.
Yeah.
yeah.
Sometimes people just need to see and hear how they feel through another
Hmm.
vessel,
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
To be honest with you, that's the medicine for people, to let them know, you're not by yourself. You
Yeah.
experience these feelings, and you have the anxiety, or if you have the joy,
Yeah.
we
Exactly.
share it too. And we share
Yeah, and
that
Yep.
community,
Mm-hmm.
making the community and the connections, which as we're all so connected, sometimes we're disconnected. So yeah, I think it's so important to have, and love your fans coming to see you and how you're connecting them to each other.
Yeah.
It's what people
Thank
need.
you. I love it when they're in the chat and they're like, "Hey, what you doing? Hey, how you doing?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's so cool."
Yeah,
It's about the whole. It's about the
Mm-hmm.
whole. And here's the thing: it's not preachy or trying to do that, but I believe that if you're doing something that you love and you enjoy it, and of course, let's include the music in that. You have music, they will come. Play the
Yeah.
music, they will
yeah,
come. That's it. That's really it. And I play everything.
Yep.
I play everything. And my alter ego is DJ Random, and her motto is, I don't know what the hell she's gonna play. She's gonna play it all. She's great, but it's just people relate. They come in, and
absolutely.
you don't know whose soul you're soothing. I always say, make sure you smile at someone you don't know just once, because that may be the only smile they got that week. You don't know.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? People don't hug each other. They don't. One lady was like, "You give the best hugs," and I said, "Because tomorrow is not promised, so I hold on a
Yeah.
yeah,
little." Right?
Yep. Yep.
That's it. That's it.
Well, Helen, this has been an honor. I mean it when I say I hope you'll come back. I really
I'm
do,
doing-
because
Just hit me.
yeah,
Yeah.
oh no, don't worry,
I
she'll be
will.
getting us doing the texts on her, like messaging soon. Don't worry, with the show
I
and her
know.
fan.
It's phenomenal. You
I
have
didn't let you know what that code is anyway.
right. I'm gonna be like totally transparent. You have okay, I have this full-blown ADHD brain, right? And I was telling Katya, I was like, Helen has it together. I was like,
Oh,
I'm so nervous because she's
oh
done so much, and she's so,
my
she's got this vision and she does this thing and she's amazing. And being
God.
here with you and just having you be so real and kind and all of that, you are a dream come true.
Oh,
Like
thank you.
i
That's
i
y'all
really
cool too.
appreciate.
Y'all cool too. I appreciate you. I thank you for the time. Thank you for asking. Thank you for even being interested. I mean, it's not
Oh
every day
Yeah,
someone will
no,
ask,
we love
and
it.
you share the stories that hopefully, people need to know each other just a little bit better. I
yeah,
don't mind if people know me a little bit better. It's
yeah,
fine. Life is a blessing. My life is a gift,
It is.
and I'm trying to give back the best way that I can in every way. And be a mom to my son, a wife to my husband, a great
yeah,
friend to my friends. And a good family to my family. That's about it. That's all I gotta
Thank
do.
you.
yep.
Thank you.
You know.
Amazing.
Yes. Yes.
Well, next, wait, say that again, sorry.
I was going to say, I have a sign off on my show that I wanted to say on here to you and to your listeners. And then, yeah, you can continue. But I always say, be limitless in your magnificence, so that the only thing anyone can ever take from you is notes.
Uh,
Oh, I love that. I mm,
I was
I
taking
feel you
notes.
have an energy. Yeah.
You were like, so
Wait, say it again.
this pin is hilarious. I keep it near all the time. I take it pin.
That's awesome.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. Okay, yes.
Oh.
Yes, yes, that's up to us. We have to make sure that we're always paying attention. I always say, I don't mind not being the smartest person in the room. I don't want to be the smartest person in the room, because there's always something to learn. And when
Hmm.
you're learning, you're growing. And we never stop growing. So,
Yeah, truth.
Love it.
that's it.
Love that. Okay.
Ah,
Yes,
this
Yeah.
has been lovely.
Oh my
yes.
gosh. You really do have an energy that I just don't want to
Oh,
leave.
oh,
Oh my goodness, Amy. I'm crazy about her.
I know we do. I'm like, isn't there a song that's called like Girl Crush or something like that?
Yes, there sure is.
Like, hi. No,
Coolest person. Coolest person in the
ever.
planet. Coolest person in the room.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Ah,
And I love that she would not even say that. I absolutely just adore all of that. And, you know, uh let us know in the comments what you thought. Because I feel like wow. Wow.
Amy, tell them
Make
about
sure
the
that
shirt.
yeah. Okay. So make sure that you like and subscribe and follow along. And here's why. Because we're giving away a Rock the Life t-shirt right now. This may turn into like a prize pack where you get like a shirt and like a mug and maybe something else. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But if you'd like to win, help us promote the show. We would love for this show to grow. I know for many of you that you have enjoyed listening, and we've been told by a number of our listeners that this show really makes you feel good. And we want to share that love with other people who could use to feel good. So all you have to do is go to our Instagram page, make sure you're following along, go to our reels and share a reel, and make sure that you onto your stories on Instagram, and make sure that you tag Rock the Life Girl. If you do not tag Rock the Life Girl, I can't count the entry because I won't see it.
You
So
won't see it.
to our reels, share on your stories, and help us get the word out there. Anyway,
Yes.
is that
Amy,
it?
this has been great. Yes.
Yeah.
So excited.
Yeah.
I'm feeling so much better about life today. So thank
I
you to you,
know.
and thank you to Helen.
Yeah.
It's what I needed.
Seriously. Yeah. Oh, I love you,
Okay,
babes.
babes. Love you. I
Don't
can't wait to
forget.
talk to you soon.
I
And
know. Don't forget. Rock the
rock the
life.
life.
Bye.
Bye.